Hello everyone, and today I am going to be doing a scored review on Lost Odyssey. This game was developed by Mistwalker and Feel Plus and was published by Microsoft. Now, this game is a turn-based RPG in the oldest sense of saying that, where like original Final Fantasy, where everybody sets their actions into play and it all happens at once. Now, this review is going to be taking place over 5 categories, and I will be so you have something to look at while I'm talking about the game. Now, the first category I'm going to go over is going to be the graphics, and even considering how old this game is, this game still looks amazing. Now, I played it way back when it first came out, and I have played it several times since. I have gotten all the achievements in the game, and overall, I've really enjoyed it. So, the graphics in this game are amazing. The CG for the cutscenes and stuff like that, I think, are still really good according to today's standards. The actual in-game isn't quite up to par as the CGs, but it still looks good. But that was also back in the era where the 360 wasn't really pumping out like 1080i and 1080p style games. So this still looked great even on the lower resolution scale. There's in this game there's all kinds of great looking special effects from attacks, spells, abilities, and all kinds of other things like the different terrains and environments you end up in. Now, the second category is going to be the story, and when I first played this game, I remembered how great of a fantasy game this was, only to find out it's actually fantasy that goes into sci-fi. So if you're not in the sci-fi towards the end, it's going to be less interesting. But I think all in all, this story was really great. It's pretty much your stereotypical good versus evil. We must stop the bad guy from destroying or taking over the world. Very cliche, but still really well done. Now, for the music and sound effects, this game, the sound effects in this game are really well done. The attacks sound like they really hit the mark, so to speak, when it comes to like weapons hitting, spells going off, walking around, running, sprinting. But the music was probably the highlight of this section. It was done by the legendary Final Fantasy director um, Nobuo Uematsu. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, but I believe that's how it's pronounced. And you can definitely get the feel of his music in this game. It all goes together. When you're out adventuring, you feel like you're adventuring. When you're in battle, you feel like it's a heated battle. When you're in a boss fight, a precarious situation, you get the feeling. Now, the only music I had a little bit of qualm with was probably the victory fanfare for the battles. It seemed very kind of flat. It was a good song. It just really didn't mesh with the rest of the game as well as the rest of the music. But all in all, stellar soundtrack, great music, and awesome sound effects. Now, for the gameplay and mechanics, this is a turn-based RPG, so there's not really a whole lot you're doing. You just got your basic move around, interact with objects, interact in battle, simple things like that. And the concept of the ring system for a turn-based RPG. It helps keep you focused on the battles so that you don't just press buttons, watch interaction. You actually have to press buttons, pay attention, and line up your attack ring with the target ring to get good or great hits. They get the best effects out of your rings. So I've always enjoyed when RPGs have taken into account to do something to keep the player really enthralled into the actual combat instead of just sitting there watching. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoyed a lot of older games where you set your actions and you got to enjoy it. For instance, like the Final Fantasy summons. Most of them, you just click the button and you watch the awesome action occur. Another thing was also the composite magic, which incorporated mixing two of the three different categories of magic together to create alternate effects, like an all non-elemental spell mixed with a fire spell could turn it into a all fire elemental spell. You know, simple things like that. Now, for the last category, the achievements, as with pretty much every JRPG I've ever played, and like I said at the beginning, I have 100% of the achievement list in this game, including the DLC for Secret of the Deep. This game gives you periodic achievements as you're progressing through the story, so you're not really seeing a whole lot. And then there's some for things like scoring perfects with your ring attacks. But the majority of this game's achievements are based around get to the end of the game, attain all white magic, all black magic, all spirit magic, all skills or stuff like that. Then there's also like unlock every skill and ability for each character and stuff like that. It's a lot of in-game collecting, and for most RPG players that are achievement hunters, that's going to be absolutely normal for them. They're going to want the very best they can get out of their team. So, I'm going to be honest with this review. This has been a game I've wanted to review on my channel for a long time, and I finally have been able to sit down, do a complete walkthrough of the game, and I have to say, to this day, even after playing it when it first launched, this game is still stellar, still amazing, with only like a very minute complaints that I have with it. So, normally I rate a game 5 out of 10 for average, where versus the industry standard of 7 or 8. And no lie, this game is a solid 9. It's an amazing game with an amazing story with amazing graphics. It kind of falls flat in some areas. It's still a very cliche-ish JRPG. So most things you'll see coming if you've played RPGs before. But a 9 out of 10, this, as of right now, this is probably my highest rated game out of all the games I've done reviews for. And it takes an absolutely perfect game, in my opinion, to score a 10. So pretty much 9 out of 10 is mostly going to be the highest you see from me. So 9 out of 10, if you love JRPGs, if you love turn-based RPGs, or you just like any RPG in general, this is a must-play and a must-have for any RPG player. So again, 9 out of 10. And I hope to see you guys in my next scored review.